I'm George Stewart, running for City Council citywide. My wife Joanna and I have been residents of Provo since 1978, so we've been here 37 years. Our 11 children attended Provo schools, so we're a little familiar with Provo schools. Of our 44 grandchildren, many of those also are attending school in Provo. I had the great opportunity to serve as the mayor of Provo from 1994 to 98. We only served one term. We only ran for one term because we wanted to serve missions for our church. And I have to explain my voice. That's one of the problems with politicking, is you talk a lot. And so I've lost my voice, so hopefully you'll understand why I'm a little... My wife says I talk too loud. I wish I could talk loud now, but I'm not able to. We also had the opportunity to serve on the city council. I served as a chair for 2 terms, 2 of the 3 years on the council, and also 1 year as vice chair. And so I've had a lot of opportunity to serve, and people ask, why are you serving again? Well, the majority of the council members today that are serving asked me to serve again because of the opportunity we've had to serve on the budget committee. And I'll talk about the budget committee later, so thank you. Well, Vision 2030 is interesting because we also have a general plan that by legislative mandate, the state legislature has insisted that every city have a general plan that basically determines how the development will occur so there can be consistency. And the general plan is used by the Planning Commission and the city staff to make decisions. So Vision 2030 is something apart from that, but there are parts of Vision 2030 that are very good. There are others that really the city can influence. For example, healthcare, that's IHC and the medical community. The school system, we have a school board. So those are prominently mentioned in Vision 2030, but they're not really things that we as a city participate in to the same degree as others, although we can be supportive. Let me just mention the things that I just noted down, the things that I think are very worthwhile. Economic development. Obviously, we need economic development. We found that out, particularly since the major source of revenue to the city is sales tax. Let me read what the Herald said when I went out of office about economic development. The undeniable, Provos will also enjoy shopping at the Provo Town Center. Many past mayors and city councils tried and failed to bring a mall to Provo. Stewart and current council members, that was in 1997, this was written, have succeeded, and residents will enjoy the fruits of that success for years to come. And I'd like to continue to participate in economic development. We've had no major economic development since that time. Of course, we went through a recession, but it's critical for the city of Provo to have more economic development because sales tax will not keep up with the cost of running the city if we don't have more retail in the city of Provo. Some other things in Vision 2030, obviously the environment is going to be very important. Maintaining low rates. I'm chairman of the Power Board, and the Power Board has been able to ensure that the infrastructure in the city for electricity has kept up with the needs. We have no water board, and now we're facing a 50+% increase over the next 5 years in water rates because the infrastructure hasn't kept up. And so my suggestion is that we have a power board in addition to the power board, we have a water board because they can do a great service to the city. This is an independent citizen committee that gives advice and consent to the council and the power department. Just one other thing, public safety. Let me just read one other thing. The undeniable positive legacy of Stewart's administration. You got to remember the Herald was liberal at the time, and I'm conservative. But they say the undeniable positive legacy of the Stewart administration will remain. Residents will enjoy Provo's improved sidewalks, roads, and infrastructure. They will feel safer because of the 20 additional police officers and 15 firefighters hired over the past 4 years. I have a record. I have to run on my record. And I'd like to have people really understand today what that record was. So that's, I think you combine the general plan with suggestions from 2030, but the general plan really is the governing document for the city. Well, I've been both. We have two separate branches of government in Provo. Most cities have one branch of government. They have a city council that the mayor belongs to, and in addition to that, he hires with the city council a city manager that manages the affairs of the city. Provo has a strong mayor form of government along with Salt Lake, Logan, Sandy, West Valley. Not West Valley, excuse me, Logan. But there are separate but equal branches, and it's important that 8 people make the decisions for the city, not 1. And so I think that you can have discussion, you can disagree, but you shouldn't be disagreeable. I think it's the role of the council to, in fact, one of their main responsibilities in addition to budget and land use is oversight. They have an oversight responsibility by statute to have oversight over the administration. But there's no need for contentious development, contentious relationship, but at the same time, I think it's really important that the council be strong and the mayor be strong. I've served in both roles. I understand both roles. I think I understand what needs to happen between those two branches of government. What would I like to accomplish? I'd like to keep Provo what it is today. We moved here because it was Provo, and the development in the city can go one way or the other. We haven't had in Vision 2030 and the general plan talk about sustainable neighborhoods. I really believe that's a major priority of the council, to be sure that we encourage single-family homes. We encourage long-term residency because that gives the schools, it gives the churches, it gives the community organizations stability. When you have unbalance between rentals and home ownership, the balance isn't there for the schools and others. So that's my main priority, is to keep Provo what it is today and also help with economic development. I do have budget expertise, being on the budget committee. And again, that's one of the 3 major roles of government. The council government is to have oversight over the budget and to approve the budget. The budget really is not the mayor's budget. It's the mayor's and council's budget. And I believe I can contribute to that because of my experience in business. I've been CEO of several major corporations. And so that's what I'd like to do. But most of all, I'd like to serve Provo. That's why I'm doing this again. This is one tax that I can support. I don't like taxes. I don't think any of us do. But we have many people shop in Provo, particularly students that aren't permanent residents. We have visitors that can contribute this. Orem has a RAP tax. When we shop in Orem, we're paying a RAP tax. So it's for recreation, arts, and parks. I have a little different view of how it should be used than some. The general fund is facing a long-term structural deficit. That's what we were told when we went on the budget committee. Long-term structural deficit means that the revenues aren't increasing as fast as the expenses because of health cost and because of you have to raise salaries so people can have their cost of living increases. But let me give this exact figures. We subsidize the Covey Center. That means from the general fund, we subsidize the Covey Center for $335,000. That means the Covey Center, 41% of the Covey Center's operating revenue comes from a subsidy from the city. The ice sheet, it's $175,000. The golf course is $145,000. That's $655,000. The RAP tax is going to incur about $1.2 million in revenue. That's approximately what it will do. I think these subsidies for these recreation, arts, and parks activities, that's what those 3 are, should be paid for from the RAP tax, not from the general fund of the city. We had to raise property taxes this year to pay for a police officer. Well, if we took $655,000 away from subsidizing these recreation, art, and parks activities, we wouldn't have to raise property tax to fund a police officer. So I'm in favor of a RAP tax, and then the remainder should be used to take care of our current parks. We don't take care of our parks as well as we should because of lack of funding. And we could increase the current parks. I'm not in favor of bonding against that money because you pay interest and you pay bonding fees to bond. Why would we bond and build more parks when we can't take care of the ones we have? So the money should be used to reduce the subsidy, number 1, and number 2, to have our parks be in better shape and to improve them. We have parks that are unfinished. Things that have been promised to the citizens that haven't been done, and I think the RAP tax could be used for that. So I am in favor of the RAP tax. Well, the budget intent statement, let me just go to what it actually says. The annual budget by law has to be balanced, but they said we need to balance long-term revenues and expenses. That's what this committee that I've been asked to serve on with Larry Walters. Larry's a professor of finance at BYU. Super guy. He has been a city manager who really understands city finances. Larry Walters also is on our committee, and he's over the law school finances. Becky Lockhart was on our committee. Of course, she passed away, sadly. And then Jane Carlisle was also on the committee at the start, but because of other activities, she wasn't able to serve. So we spent a year looking at the long-term revenue projections against the revenue expenses. And we believe fees are the main one that can help us immediately. We have many fees that the cost of providing the service, the direct cost of providing the service, is not equal to what we're charging for it, much less the indirect cost, the overhead cost. And so the council has asked the administration to review 25 fees every quarter. And we think we can raise about $1 million for the general fund by just taking the fees to where they should be, so we at least cover the cost of providing the service.
Okay.
So there are other things in this statement, but I only have a minute, so. Let me wrap it up with, it's been said that I'm contentious. I'm outspoken, that's true. But I'm going to read you one other thing. That's how we'll remember George Stewart, for his affability, grace under fire, and unfathomable courage in facing his critics. It didn't matter that the majority whose views he so often and ably represented was conspicuously absent from out on the limb where the mayor sometimes found himself. And the Herald said in this editorial, again, this was not a friendly newspaper. We often disagreed with Mayor Stewart, but never found him disagreeable. So I think that's what I would promise to the citizens. I won't be disagreeable, but I will be outspoken. I will speak for the rights of the citizens, and as was said, I ably represented the majority view, and I believe I can do that, and that's why I want to be elected.